My name is Michael Fuso. I'm a grape farmer in Lodi. We're at one of our properties that we actually don't manage. We're just going to be picking it tonight as a custom farming job for FFG harvesting. And tonight we're going to show you a little bit about what grape harvesting is all about. We're not just we're a grape harvesting company, and the grape harvesting company is two different things from us being Fuso Farms versus FFG. So FFG actually is a separate entity that we do for just nighttime work, which we're doing tonight, and that's going to be based upon the fact that you're doing roughly about 3,500 to 3,600 acres a year is what we actually pick, and then for our farming operation, we manage and control about 1,800 acres of grapes separately from FFG harvesting. So we harvest at nighttime because there's a lot of different regulations and rules that have to go on. It has to do with a lot of heat stress for the employees and for our machines. One of the biggest things is the machines get really hot, and the employees, we're trying to keep them cooler at nighttime. And then on the winery side of that, we're actually looking into different things that it's easier for trucking to go up and down the road at nighttime because there's not as much traffic out there. And then also the grape crush is actually going to be easier to ferment and process the grapes at nighttime because you don't want the heat that is associated with the daytime picking, because the grapes get really sticky and juicy, and the hotter that they get, the harder it is to actually process that grape and get it to break down in the winery. This is actually Chris Grenz. He's one of my cousins. He is the other part of FFG harvesting. It actually stands for Fuso Grenz. He is one of the part of Grenz. We had a harvesting company put together back when my dad, his dad, and my uncle were doing different stuff together, and they kind of started this whole harvesting company.
My dad farms roughly about 500 acres, what he owns between himself, his dad, and then my mom and her family. And then about another 300-400 acres is what we farm for other people on the side. How long ago was it when FFG started? What, 30-40 years ago?
They started about 30-40 years ago, yeah. They actually had one of the original grape harvesters in the Campo area when no one knew what a grape harvester was. It was kind of a brand new thing that they brought in, and a lot has changed. They must have been only 18 to 20 years old. For a lot of them when they had it, they were young than us when they started. The basis of this harvester is a lot different than other ones that you guys have actually seen before, because his dad is actually kind of the minds behind the operation of everything going on. He's actually taken an American grape harvester and he's changed it over to his own style frame, which is actually a basis off of another machine company that's here in town in Lodi, which is called AIM Productions. So this machine is actually going to be going through vine, and it's considered a trunk shaker. There's different kinds of machines with the actual head. We have all trunk shakers, and there's a different bow rod style system, but this one here is what we've owned, what we've managed. We have a lot of different styles of grapes that we farm, but these are based for how we actually want to pick. So what this actually does is when you drive it through the middle of the row, this is actually going to shake the bottom of the trunk, and when the fruit actually will then fall down, and it's all a conveyor system. So as it goes through the machine, it comes across the back, and then there's actually going to be two people that sit at the back of the machine, and what they're trying to do is bang off fruit, bang off canes, so it can actually go through the fan system, because the winery doesn't want a lot of mog. And what mog is considered anything that's not the actual grape coming to the winery in the tank. So they're trying to get rid of as much as they can, and the fans are taking out those leaves. As it comes up the machine, if you still have a dirty system, there's room for people to actually stand up on top here where you can actually have people sorting. You try not to do that because we're cutting down on labor, we're cutting down on cost with everything all the time with the minimum wage coming up. So we're trying to do the best we can to limit those extra people. And then as it comes across, there's actually going to be a discharge shooting belt that comes across, and then there's going to be grape gondola tanks that it actually goes into. And then from there, we actually haul it out to the trucks that are positioned down the road, and that's what gets carried to the winery. Our farming operation with FFG harvesting has 8 harvesters that we're managing and running. One of those is actually owned by a gentleman in town. His name is Craig Edwards, and he owns a Campo Machine Works. You guys have probably seen different stuff from him at the county level here in San Joaquin County for Lodi. But we are actually working on trying to figure out how we can do different things at nighttime with different machines, trying to just diversify ourselves a little bit. But each machine, we can run our trunk shaker at about a mile and a half an hour at nighttime. And it's a very slow process, so you're only getting about 10 to 12 acres out of a machine a night. And when you start looking at 3,500 acres of farming, and each machine, if you run them consistently all night long, they're only still covering about 80 to 85 acres with all 7 machines running. Now his machine is a little bit different because it's the bow rod style, which I was talking about. It's not a trunk shaker. It's actually going to be beating the fruit off the vine directly. He can travel at a much faster rate. So he's going anywhere between 3 and 3.5 miles an hour, covering a lot more ground. And that's going to be more of your vertical style of grapes versus the traditional, which we call a bilateral or a quad. So this is one of the grape tanks that I was talking about. And this is going to actually be considered a 6-ton bin. And when I say 6 tons, yes, 12,000 pounds. The trucks that are going up and down the road, you have to be within classifications of the 80,000 pounds that the trucks can actually legally GVW at going down the road. So the trucks actually carry 4 of these gondolas. And the truck will have 4 different spots on it. And this whole entire bin will then go into the truck. And it's just kind of a neat process because the legs come down, the tank goes up, and this whole process will go on down at the trucks, and the harvester is actually picking into this. So the discharge chute comes across like we were talking about. That's when you can actually see how clean your fruit is in the tank. Sometimes it's harder on top of the machine, but as you start looking in the tank, you're allowed to see actually how much mog you have going back into the winery. So this is where the beginning of the machine will actually go through the middle of the field, and what it's doing is the vine's actually going to come through, and you'll actually watch it. It's going to push these wings back, and as it pushes the wing back, it goes into the machine. Now what a lot of people don't realize is with these wings, it's only made to go one direction. As you come through and you try to push your knee back out on these, they're actually going to be getting stuck. So these machines are only made to go one direction, so it's very important that the guys, once they get in the row, they actually don't stop because it's made to catch the fruit. So if you ever walk in them, it's really hard to get back out. And when I say wings, so the problem is the vine's going through the middle of the machine. What you want to do is capture all that fruit, and the fruit then actually will fall down and go on the belts. As it goes across, it goes to the back of the people, and then that's where they start sorting everything out at. So this is actually going to be a very vigorous process. It actually is shaking the bottom of the trunk the whole entire time, and it allows the fruit to fall off. The goal is to try to get as much fruit off the vine so it's clean, and you're not actually having somebody go in there and hand pick it. Everything else has become mechanized. You now have a machine harvester as well. So once you get to the back of the machine, the vine's going to come out, and once it comes out, it's not being shaken anymore past the rails inside of the machine. The fruit then comes back, and it comes on this next sorting tray here. So you're actually going to have a person, they're going to be sitting here on a bucket, and what their job is to physically pull the excess debris off. So there's extra wood, if there's extra leaves in anything, and they're watching the fruit go up through the belt. As it comes up through this system, there's a fan that's going to suck out any excess debris that they don't need inside of here, and then it starts going up the machine. So thank you guys very much for watching the video. We really hope that you guys enjoyed it and you were able to learn a little bit about harvesting. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on at nighttime, and for a lot of you who've probably never seen anything like this before, we're just really happy that you guys were able to come out and watch a video of how mechanical grape harvesting goes. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your time.